Hey, Mystic Michaela, spiritual family. Welcome to Know Your Aura with Mystic Michaela. Today I am talking about shedding inauthentic colors, rebalancing your aura colors, and what that actually looks like, especially during a spiritual awakening. A lot of symptoms, a lot of ways you can feel, a lot of you going through it and not knowing what it is. And we're going to talk about that today. But first, I want to talk about something that I was introduced through this podcast, and it's been great. Rory, okay? So you already know the importance of taking care of your skin. Whether you're worried about dullness like me, redness, fine lines, acne. I personally have a brown spot issue after I had my second baby. Trying to find the right treatment can be really frustrating. It can take a lot of time. It can take a lot of trial and error. Now there's a simpler, smarter solution to skincare. So meet Rory, R-O-R-Y, a digital health clinic for women. Rory is the sister brand of Roman. Like Roman, they make it simple to connect with an actual healthcare professional online and see if personalized prescription skincare treatment is right for you, all from the comfort of your home. So this is all you do. I did this. It took me no time at all. It was so easy. I felt so seen. Go on your phone or computer and you complete a free online consultation. They're going to ask you about your skin. You take a picture of your skin, stuff like that. Whatever you're concerned with, you'll hear back from a U.S. licensed healthcare professional within 24 hours. So easy, so efficient. And if appropriate, they'll prescribe a personalized skincare treatment plan that works just for you and your skin. With Rory, you don't even have to go to the pharmacy. Your custom skincare is delivered right to you with free 2-day shipping. It was super fast, and the packaging is really nice. You also can follow up anytime with a healthcare professional. If you need to make a change to your treatment or you have any questions, they're with you every step of the way on your skincare journey. I haven't had any questions I got the Nightly Defense Cream. I haven't had any questions. I'm enjoying it so far. But if I did have any questions, it's real simple. You just press a button online and you're connected to a doctor. With Rory, there are no commitments and you can cancel anytime. So listen to this. I want you to try it out. This is a great deal. Go to hellorory.com/KYA to try out the Nightly Defense for just $5. That's a prescription cream. It's free to chat with the doctor and your first order is just $5. That's hellorory, RORY.com/KYA, and eligibility requirements and additional terms apply. But go check that out and let me know how you like it. Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys.
What's going on?
Nothing. Hey, it's our 1-year anniversary.
Of the podcast, right?
No, yes, of the podcast. Yeah, can you believe it? 1 year.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, do you remember? I remember sitting upstairs. Before we had started, and I think I might have already told this story on the podcast, so I have. Please forgive me.
Okay.
About 6 months before, rewind 6 months prior, around January, I had ordered all the podcast equipment.
Oh, right.
I ordered the microphones.
Go on Amazon.
I went on Amazon. I got the motherboard.
Yeah. We don't know what this stuff
this nonsense.
is.
I don't know what I was buying. I just bought it. It was like $200-something. I'm like, all right, click, and it came. Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of like Rory. Anyway, so then I'm sitting there, I open the box, I'm like, yeah, this is going to be great. And I look at it and I'm like, no.
There's so many buttons.
I'm not green. So many buttons.
Yeah.
No green. Either one of us are not green.
No, we're not green.
I'm asking the neighbors, hey, you know what this thing is?
And they're explaining it to us, but we don't understand them either.
Right. I'm trying to get like these, computer guys.
Yes.
Nobody knows. So what did I do? I took it and I just tossed it in the closet.
Yep.
And it sat there. And then sat there for months and months and months. And then finally we said, hey, whatever happened with it? We got to pick that back up.
Last summer, we were like, we got to just do this.
So before we went on our trip that summer.
To Buffalo and whatnot.
And I think that was Chicago and Tennessee. We were all over the map.
Yeah.
That summer. I reached out to, a person, Jemmy. And
Flintstone Media.
Yeah, Flintstone Media. And she made it seem simple for us.
Yes.
And I said, all right, hey, if you could just get this thing going, let's do it.
Right.
And then, we just recorded an episode. And from there, it grew and it grew. And
now we're with Wave.
Now we're with Wave, and
they've helped us immensely, too.
So it's been a crazy year.
Crazy journey.
And we're just getting started.
And we get to talk to so many people and reach all of you guys. And we couldn't have done any of this without the Mystic Michaela spiritual family.
No, not at
like,
all.
you guys are our lifeblood. I say you
God.
fuel me.
Yeah.
If it weren't for you guys.
I'll tell you, they gave us the fuel at the beginning.
Yes.
Jemmy, you know, I first of all, I really knew nothing about I know you'd been on some podcasts.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know anything about how it works. And even before we had I think we had like one episode, and Jemmy said, "Hey, you guys got like 400 or 500 reviews on Apple, on iTunes." I'm like, "Okay, is that good?"
You mean
like,
downloads or reviews?
No, actual reviews.
Oh, reviews.
Yeah, we had like 500 reviews.
Oh my gosh,
5-star reviews going in, and I'm like, "Well, I didn't even know what
forgot about
that meant." Yeah, and no, it was because the Mystic and Spiritual Family,
so supportive.
We're like one episode in, they were already all reviewing it and
so
giving
nice.
us a really good start.
Yeah,
because I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what a review was on a
now
podcast.
we know more stuff, but we still don't know enough.
No.
But we're still at the dining room table.
We're just getting started. But we got fancier mics.
They are nicer.
We lost the textbooks.
Yeah, Adam from Wave sent us nicer mics.
Yeah, so we got nicer mics.
Yeah.
We got better equipment.
We do.
My voice actually has gotten better.
Mine's gotten worse.
Okay. I mumble only about 60% of the time now,
You've improved
where I
your
used to be about 80 to 90%. I still sound like the guy from NPR.
That's what you hear. That's what you hear. I still get asked if I'm from Wisconsin.
You still get asked from Wisconsin. So a lot of things are still the same, even though we've had a lot of changes.
But, yeah.
Okay. But we went to Key West to try to relax,
just see
take
something
a break.
different. Yeah, before the kids go to virtual school, whatever
Right.
that's going to be.
And you'd think, you're going to a nice island.
Yeah.
It would be relaxing.
It is, and it is. It's
But
beautiful there.
2 kids and 90 degrees,
It was just too hot for you.
it looks better in the Instagram photos.
It's weird because we're in Boynton Beach and we're only 4 hours away from Key West, but I think it's hotter there.
It felt hotter.
Is it? Like,
I don't know. I'm going to tell. From the beginning, from the moment we pulled up to the hotel, I was sweating.
You were.
Profusely.
Every time I looked at you.
My sweat was sweating. That's how bad it was. Like, my sweat was complaining about sweating. Like, they really did. They said to me, "Hey, Scotty, we're sweating."
It was like secondary sweat.
Yeah, it was like on my shoulder, like, we're sweating. But, like, beginning of trip's probably always hard with kids, I think, for every family. I don't know, maybe, or we're just the exception. But, like, the getting the luggage to the front desk and then getting your room and all that. The kids, they're antsy. Bree was like, really nervous for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe the energy of the building.
She's never did good with transition.
Yeah, I refuse under any circumstance to ever use valet. I know. It's not because I'm cheap. You might say I'm cheap. I don't know. But I hate when someone takes my car keys and parks my car.
It's like coronavirus, too.
Forget even coronavirus.
Oh, yeah.
I hate valet. Is that a red person
and
thing?
That's a Firester thing. That's like all of you you're like nobody pay. There's no paying to park, and there's no maybe your dad.
No, I'm okay paying to park. We parked all over Key West, and
that's new
cost
for you.
Me like $7 million. But valet parking, I really don't like. Is that a red thing or no?
Yeah, I would think so. Maybe control.
Yeah, I don't like when someone gets in my car and drives it.
Okay. I love when people do that.
Yeah, well, you don't like to.
I don't like to drive.
I'm like your own personal valet.
You are. But I loved it. We swam. It was just like swimming and eating chicken fingers. Yeah, that's what we did.
Swimming, eating chicken fingers, sweating.
We were fine. You were like the sweaty one in the corner. The 3 of us were like okay with it.
Really?
Well, it's hot there. Like you can't expect to do anything but swim.
That's true.
Or take boats or, snorkel, but we didn't do any of that.
I think the biggest, it was actually pretty good. Then we made a real big mistake. So we were doing really well, and then we made this big mistake, which was we decided to go to the Key West Aquarium.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, we have seen, I've seen more sea life, marine life at the local Red Lobster. Okay?
Yeah.
It's like this one room. Right?
I don't want to diss the Key West Aquarium,
it's very
Scott.
nice. Look, honestly, it was like one room. There was like 4 tanks in it. They had like one sea turtle with a missing leg.
It was very up Abby's alley. She loved it.
Oh, the kids were fine.
If you're 5, it's perfect.
Yeah.
5 and below.
It just happens to be the air conditioner was broke.
It was broken. You were sweating. You were just miserable and sweaty.
Dripping sweat.
The whole trip, every time we looked at you, you're just like, it's hot.
They had one outdoor exhibit where they had like 4 baby alligators. I've seen that more at the free K that we have down the block. They have like at least like 10 alligators in there. So, yeah. I don't know. Key West Aquarium.
Well, way to put down the poor Key West Aquarium. They're just trying to save a couple legless turtles. And
I mean, the big advertisement was the touch tank, but you couldn't touch.
Well, no, because like,
I mean,
Key West is very serious about the mask thing.
They are.
They're very, 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 very serious. There's like no anti-maskers. Like they're not getting away with nothing down there. Like I think the whole island is very.
Yeah, but the starfish can't get the corona.
I don't know what that was about. It was a bummer. Yeah, I know the kids wanted. Yeah, I know.
So basically, what you're saying, if I touch this hermit crab, and then you come and touch this hermit crab, then
maybe they don't.
Hermit crabs
they don't want corona water.
Okay. I don't know. Anyway, their big draw was the
touch tank. Well, it was false advertising.
And they can't touch.
Well, they should have told us before we bought the tickets that there was no, all right, guess what? The touch tank's not open.
Right.
Like a lot of the exhibits weren't open.
They don't tell you anything. It's kind of very shady going in there.
It is. Well, it's a tourist trap.
Tourist trap. Yeah. Definitely a tourist trap.
The whole place is a tourist trap.
And then they try to get you to go to like the shipwreck museum next door.
It was like the Groupon coupon. Yeah.
Right. And I was like, wait a second. No.
It was too hot to do anything anyways. So that was a bust.
So that was what we probably should have just stayed at the resort.
Like you just sit underwater the entire time. That's all you can do.
But we did try that. But overall, I would say, Key West with kids, you can't always do exactly what you want to do.
It depends how adventurous your children are.
Yeah, maybe go a little bit later in the fall.
Ours aren't super adventurous. Well, I like to swim in a warm ocean, not a cold ocean. And I'm too acclimated here. To like in February, the ocean's cold for me.
Yeah.
But that's probably a better time to walk around Key West for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Key lime pie was good.
Key lime pie was great. And the Key West vibe is awesome.
Key West vibe. What if Key West was a color? It'd be what?
It'd be like purple green.
Okay. It wouldn't be purple bombs, right?
No. It's a purple green. It's
purple
like
green.
It's a controlled chaos.
And it has some sort of like scientific vibe to it?
Yeah, they don't, they're not like, it's not like hot mess purple, it's like purple green. It's like they know what they have going on, there's a lot of characters walking around, a lot of locals, but they're very self-aware that they're a local and they're a character. Like they're not like, you know what I mean? It's not like a freak show. It's more just like... Like, do you ever feel like you're in danger there? Or, like, nobody comes up to you, or like, tries to bother you, like, in Times Square or things like that. Like, you get, like, approached a lot. That doesn't have... Like, Key West makes me feel very safe.
Okay. Now, there was one incident that kind of threw me for a little bit of a loop.
I don't remember this.
Okay,
what you're going to say.
You and Abby were down at the pool swimming.
Oh.
Me and Bree decided, we got to chill a little bit. It's a little too hot. We're going to stay in the air condition.
Heat.
Right. The two reds, right? We're
staying
done.
We're staying
there.
Abby and I are like, beach.
You're down there. You're having fun. I see you from the balcony. You're playing, whatever. I go on the balcony, and there was a pair of men's boxers that were not mine.
I thought they were yours when I saw them on the balcony. That's weird.
A few things went through my head. I'm like, well, okay, wait a second. Was Dr. Pole here?
Okay, well, listen.
Okay. Yes.
You got to get off it. I'm obsessed with Dr. Pole. He's very wholesome.
Right.
He's gotten me through quarantine.
Right. But then I thought he's like a Midwestern guy, right? He's not traveling to Key West.
He's very much in love with his wife.
Right. So that theory went out the door very quickly. But then my second theory, and this is the one that is definitely possible, is possibly the night before there was some astral sex going on, and the guy, whoever it might be, because it weren't my boxers, left his boxers there. Now, is that possible in the astral realm?
Okay, maybe. Yeah, like a little proof that I was astral freaking with someone.
It's right? Is that possible?
No, that's not.
No?
I don't know what that is creepy though, because they weren't there when we got there, and we went out to go swimming, and we came back, and there are a pair of boxers there that don't belong to anybody.
Well, so I
don't know how that happened.
Well, then there's my third theory.
What?
So if it's not Dr. Pole, it's not like astral sex you can leave behind objects, then it obviously It's these Amish guys that have been stalking me.
Do they wear Hanes boxers? I would think they'd wear something a little more homespun.
It's true. Okay. So you're saying because it said Hanes on it, that takes Jebediah and company out of the equation.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Then, then I must have had some, or you must have, or, one of the two of us had some sort of like secret admirer or
It's
something.
a great mystery. We have a picture of it.
I did take a picture of the boxers to prove that they were there on the balcony, and they were not mine. So
we watched a new series. I made you
watched
watch it.
I watched like 10 minutes.
You watched 10 minutes. You came so it's Unwell on Netflix.
Right.
You came in I was like, Scott, look at this. You have to watch this. And then you sat down and you were like, it's a cult. And then you walked out.
Yeah.
But it was the first episode was about essential oils.
Right.
Yeah.
Which was turned into a cult somehow.
So I actually like essential oils. But, I think we've all been to that, one of your mom friends has an essential oil party and you go to be supportive. And it was just interesting because they were talking about those. And they were saying, I like the show because they do, they're trying to show you all the different perspectives. So they had, actual certified aromatherapists that work with essential oils. And they're like, in no case do you ever ingest them. But I remember specifically when I went to one of the essential oil parties, the lady who was hosting it made brownies with them and had water with the lemon essential oil in it. Isn't
that called a pot brownie?
No, it had she put coconut oil in the brownies, and I'm a very sensitive.
How did it taste?
I couldn't. It was really weird. So I'm like, oh, it's a brownie, right?
Yeah.
I'm always up for brownie,
sure.
and it looked real good. So I took a bite, and it was just so much frickin' coconut. I'm like, I did not expect this in a brownie, but also the taste of the coconut was weird. And then the water that they were serving, I guess, had essential oil lemon in it, and it was just I don't know, why can't you just use an actual lemon? I don't know. So anyways, I remember at this party that I went to years ago, and I thought, I don't know if you should be eating these. And then I went with a friend to that party. And
did you feel sick?
I took a bite and I was done. I took a sip, I was done. Because I think in anything, you have to listen to your body.
If you ate more of it, would you have felt sick?
I think I would have gotten very sick.
Yeah.
And then I went, so how these work, if you've never been to one, you sit around and somebody tells you about each oil and they pass around the oil for you to try. I tried one and then I was like, I don't know. It's a little strong smelling to me or whatever. And it's I'll just smell the rest, but I'm not going to put them on. Okay. But my friend I went with, she put on every flippin' oil behind her ears, on her chest, on her wrists, anywhere you could think of. She's putting the oils, all of them that come around. There were tons. Well, let me tell you, the next day, she was so sick. Ugh. And it's crazy because in this episode of Unwell, one of the people who said they had negative reactions to the oils said that when they went on the community and said, listen, I had negative reactions to the oils, everyone was like, oh, no, you didn't. Your body was just detoxing, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And that's the same thing that happened to my friend when she told, listen, I had a terrible, oh, no, that's just your body reacting, it's making you healthier or something. It was I don't feel healthy. She thought she was going to die the next day.
I don't. You would never catch me at one of these things. I don't know who brings their friends to this kind of stuff.
But I use essential oil, tea tree oil. A couple of drops in a water bottle is the only thing that keeps away lice.
Okay, I've heard you say that a few times.
That's the only thing because lice is a big issue down here.
Yeah.
And it's the only thing that keeps it away in all my experience.
Yeah.
And lavender helps me sleep and lavender helps the kids. It works. And they had one lady, she was a mother to a severely autistic child. And they just needed something to help her calm down at night. And she got an aromatherapy, put it in oh my God, what do they call those things? An air mister.
Yeah.
And a diffuser. And it seemed to help her.
I mean, having these people heard of Yankee Candle? Can't you just get a candle that smells good?
I guess they're pure oil, they're pure extract.
Yeah.
So it's not. Also, I don't know if you want a candle in a kid's room, but yes, I know what you mean. They have wax, the wax ones too. Yeah.
Get a nice Febreze.
Yeah, that's true.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, look, I know we all know my experience with the essential oil. I talked about it. It took my sex symbol down. when Abby poured it up my stomach. So there's definitely something to it.
Yeah, you were. Yes.
I'm not a believer that much of a believer in that kind of stuff.
And it's just crazy. Like at some levels, they were showing like this one company, like it turned into like almost like a cult.
Yeah, it was like a cult. There was like hundreds of thousands of people, like praying to the essential oil.
That's weird. Well, I don't know.
Which is
I notice
weird.
that sometimes people bring Christianity into the selling of these items. Like
I don't get it.
And I don't know, like the meshing of it. I think. And I'm all for people trying to make a buck. Like, that's important. And I use essential oils and I like them. But, like, I think the show's interesting because it shows you all ends on that show, Unwell. Like, it shows you when you deep dive too much into it. And it shows you when you use something moderately and how it is helpful.
Yeah, but it also showed, the one part I did see was it also showed you that the only people that were making money, I think this was the one of selling of the oils, were the top people.
Yeah.
They said, there was like thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people selling this oil for them.
Yeah.
And I think they said only 48 of them. And don't quote me on that. I might be wrong.
It was something like that.
Something like that. I think they said like 48 of them are on the top.
Yeah.
Making the money off of it. Everybody else was like losing money.
Yeah.
Or breaking even. Or making a few bucks here or there.
It's sad too because it's something that's like a pure intention product. Like people believe in this and then they get like roped in or whatever. But then, I watched this one last night when you fell asleep. The second episode.
Oh, yep. The boxers on the...
Yeah. I watched on the Tantric sex. So a lot of people told me to watch it. I got a lot of messages for people to watch the Unwell Tantric sex episode.
Did Dr. Pole message you to watch it?
No, Scott, let it go. I know you're jealous of my Dr. Pole obsession on Disney Plus. So the lady's turquoise. Like everybody's like, what color is she? So the first lady, what's her name? Oh, I'm so bad. Somebody messaged me that she's yellow and she cringes every time we forget a name.
Was her name Sting?
No, her name. Her name's like, I want to say it's Sandra or something.
Oh, there you go.
She's turquoise.
Okay.
She's so turquoise.
Yeah.
And
by the way, I have not seen this one.
No, you didn't see it. It was, but it was really interesting because it was basically how Western tantric sex is absolutely 4,000% nothing like its its original form in the Indian culture.
The only thing I know about this tantric stuff is that there was a musician named Sting, and he used to do it.
Yes.
And he is still trying to get out of the position he's been stuck in for like 30 years. He's been in this one sex position. And it's still going.
Her name was Sasha. Sorry, Sasha. Okay. Sasha. Yes, and they mentioned Sting on there. Because there's like Western Tantra, and it's so like New Age, like Sting, and like where you just kind of like stare at each other and like just connect, we'll say that way, and experience fulfillment.
And isn't it supposed to be like for days? Like you're supposed to do it for days?
I think like it's more about the release is more like a full body thing or whatever. I don't know. They go through the whole thing. And I think, and they talk about how it's great for like connecting partners and how it can help you like, I don't know, reopen yourself after trauma and stuff like that. But then again, there's these awful people who traumatize people who've already been traumatized. So yeah, so it attracts people who have been like sexually traumatized because they want to reopen themselves. They want to feel better. They want to take ownership of it again. And some of these tantra gurus with air quotes.
Sasha's a tantra guru?
Tantra guru. She's more like she runs workshops and she doesn't like really do it for you. She just kind of teaches you the methods or whatever.
Like, how does she do that?
Honestly, it looks like when she's doing it looks like energy healing. Like she kind of places her hand over you. Like
where?
Yeah.
Over my parts?
Well, they filmed one of the sessions and he was wearing a sheet.
Okay.
And she didn't like touch him there or anything.
So there's a guy naked.
Yeah.
There's a sheet.
And he was with his partner, so it was the three of them.
So it's like
you should watch it. It's
and where's the partner?
No, everybody's, it's all
three of them are naked under the sheet?
No, they were just sitting there clothed. And the guy who was trying to like...
Wait, hold on. Okay. Let me just get this image in my mind, even though I can't see things in my mind.
Yes.
So you got one guy who's naked under a sheet.
Like on a massage table, yes.
Okay. These are Hasidic Jews or no?
No.
Okay. The
These are like
I can't even say that without laughing.
hippies.
Okay. So you got one guy who's naked.
Yeah.
Because like Hasidic Jews, they do it through a sheet.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
All right. That was my joke. All
Yeah.
right. So you got one guy who's naked on the sheet,
Yes.
under a sheet. Then he has his wife,
Yes.
and she's clothed
Right.
with
Sitting,
no sheet.
Right.
And then you have Sasha,
Yes.
who's turquoise.
Yes.
And she's clothed.
Yes.
And she's there too.
Yeah.
And so that's the setting.
And yeah, and she does like a healing on him. It looks like Reiki to me.
But she does it near his part.
She can do down there too.
Did it rise?
I did not see that.
Okay. Maybe it was too small.
Maybe they just weren't going to show that on Netflix.
Got it. But is that what's supposed to happen?
Honestly, it felt like anything goes, man. Like that.
Right.
And then she ran this workshop for just all women, and they were just all like having that euphoric experience in a room together without anybody touching anybody but themselves.
Was the naked guy with the sheet there?
No, it was all women.
It was just all women.
So she's teaching like women, like it's okay to want more. It's okay to like let your sexuality out. You know, it's okay to be yourself. I didn't mind her so much. She was a little odd, but she's turquoise, you know,
right.
and sometimes turquoise. And she said, and the things she was saying were very interesting because she was picking up people's energy and reflecting it back to them, which I thought was actually kind of healing for people.
Okay. And just for my research and my notes that I always do for every show,
Yes, your notes.
Were the women in this group, they were clothed or no?
They were all clothed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it's not really about that. It's more about like a whole body experience or whatever.
All right.
And then they had like a brain expert on to explain it. Then they had like this cult. There's a cult element to it, which you got to be careful
Now,
of.
let me just ask you a question.
Yes.
Did you sign up for a session with
So
Sasha?
I was looking. They had a married couple.
I knew it. You were gonna look. You were now looking in to a session where I'm sitting there. I'm the naked guy with the sheet.
Well, I thought it was interesting because they had this. Well, then they had this other lady, and I forget her name, but she worked with Will Smith and Jada Pinkett.
Okay. Well, then she must be good.
Well, I don't know because they had like a whole entanglement issue. But anyways,
right. Exactly.
She works with big stars or whatever, and she seemed really nice.
Okay.
And I thought, I'm like, okay, Scott would do that because like you rub your partner's feet and then you just say nice things about them, and then they rub your feet and they say nice things about you.
All right. Well, I do like a good foot massage.
And then she critiques you. Like, if you're not serious, she'd be like, you know, you're not serious. Or if you're not, like, joyful enough that, like, what your partner just said, she corrects you. Like, you have to be more joyful now.
So she basically is going to be critiquing me the whole time.
Yeah, like, I'll be doing it perfect. And
Right.
she'll be like, you know,
Like
you have
gotta,
a lot of issues.
Yeah. Like, why...
Like, why
are
can't
you
you be
cracking
serious?
up when you have the heel between your your thumb and pinky?
I wanted to do that one.
Okay.
Will you go with me?
Well, I don't know because this lady's already touched Will and Jada Smith's feet, so I don't know if I don't want her touching my feet.
She doesn't touch anybody. She just supervises couples connecting and then gives you homework.
Is she in Florida?
No, I think she's in some foreign country.
Oh, I'm not going. There's no way I'm going.
It looked really healing.
No.
But never go to those like crazy cult places and other places. Don't do it, people.
No way.
Don't do it.
All right.
Yeah. So Unwell. Interesting. I have other one. The next one I have to watch is I didn't watch it yet, but like, I guess people drink breast milk, which makes me physically ill. But I'm not going to judge. I'm going to watch it first.
All right. And don't tell me about it.
So before I go into talking about shedding inauthentic aura colors and rebalancing your aura and all that, I was introduced to this and I feel like it could really help a lot of you. It's called Better Help, HELP. What interferes with your happiness? You know, what's preventing you from achieving your goals? Personally, I've been in places myself in life where I don't have clarity. You know, I do this for a living, but I think we all get into like whirlwinds of just feelings and emotions, and it's hard to retrieve your objectivity with yourself. And therapy helps with that. And BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. And you can connect in a safe and very private online environment. It's very convenient. You can start communicating in under 24 hours. This isn't self-help. This is professional counseling. You can send a message to your counselor anytime. You'll get timely and thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions. all without having to sit in one of those uncomfortable waiting rooms. BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches. So they make it easy and free to change counselors if needed. Sometimes you're not vibing with a counselor. You can change, like no judgment. It's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aids available. The service is available for clients worldwide. There is a broad range of expertise available, which may not be locally available in many areas. For example, they have licensed professional counselors who are specialized in depression, stress, anxiety, relationships, sleeping, trauma, anger, family conflicts, LGBT matters, grief, your self-esteem. Anything you share is confidential. So this is very convenient. They're very professional. This is affordable. You can check out their testimonials posted on their site. It's not a crisis line, though. This is for your self-growth and for professional counseling. In fact, so many people have been using BetterHelp, H-E-L-P, BetterHelp, that they are recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. So here's an offer. So listen to this. This is an offer for you because I want you to start living a happier life today. And I'm going to do this too, so we can do this together. As a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting BetterHelp, that's HELP.com/KYA, BetterHelp.com/KYA. Join over 1 million people taking charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/KYA. 10% off your first month. Let me know how you like it, guys. So you hear me talk a lot about inauthentic aura colors, and then I'll say things like shedding a color or rebalancing your colors and things like that. So I want to talk about shedding colors today. I talk about everyone having 2 aura colors, and they tend to basically be the same as when you were a child. You will always have one empath color, so like blue, purple, turquoise, and indigo, and then either another one of those or one of the colors like red, yellow, or green. And the thing is that even though everyone has these combinations, it does not mean everyone is an empath, which I am going to really dive into on a future episode, but I want to preface that here very quickly. So real quick, not everyone is an empath, but most people, like 99% of people, are empathic. Which, if you think about it, makes sense. Like, we couldn't run humanity without everybody being empathic. So most people can look at something terrible and sad and feel really bad about it. Empaths are just, they have this ability to take it a step further, and they can become paralyzed with the emotions of it. And then they can absorb everyone else's emotions involved in it. And like I said, I'll go into this more in a future episode, but I want to make that distinction clear. It's not like we are surrounded by people that just don't care. It's just that we're more surrounded by people who don't feel at the same level we do, and then they don't understand that we cannot turn it off. So, distinction between empath and empathic. Most people are empathic, they're empathetic, they have those abilities, but very few people are empaths. And honestly, most of you probably listening are those people, because we're usually surrounded by people that don't get us. So, there you have it. Real quick distinction before I move forward. So basically, I'll see sometimes when an empath color is stronger with an empath, like with an actual empath versus just like a regular person. Like their empath color is stronger and deeper, and that person's an actual empath. It's also a vibe than even the color. Like, how do you feel around this person? How old their soul feels? You can feel this even if you can't see auras. You can feel someone's compassion. It's just an air about them. This you can feel very seen around an empath versus somebody who is just a regular person. So you feel more seen around an empath. And it's because you feel them coming into your energy and understanding you, because that's what empaths do. We hold other people's feelings and emotions and we filter them through ourselves. And when you're around someone that can do that, that's an empath, and you can tell the difference between somebody who can't do that. All right. So now with this in mind, know that there is an ability here to shut out parts of yourself as you grow. This is because of childhood and programming and society in general. And I have talked about placing colors that aren't yours on top of your colors. And these are called, I've called them inauthentic aura colors. And episode 30 is where I talk about this in depth, if you want to check that out, because it truly changed the way I do readings when I figured that out, when I could see that. I'm like, hey, wait a second. People are wearing inauthentic colors, and why? Right there. It's such a thing to go into, and I dive into that episode 30. But to quickly review, inauthentic aura colors are what we place over our authentic colors, but because basically we feel insufficient at life as we naturally are. It's not about being fake. It's about being insecure about how we are as a person. There's a difference. So it's not like somebody being fake or phony. It's somebody feeling like they can't go through life as they are. Here's an example. I had a reading this week with a yellow blue aura woman who had all this inauthentic red on her, and it was consuming her. The only colors that should be on you are your own. So you'll feel very stuck and sick and without clarity when you're wearing inauthentic aura colors. And in the reading, her dad came up. And upon looking at a picture of her and then him, I saw that he had left the family when she was a young child. And then upon seeing her mother, I saw that her mom did her best, but was basically another child, like totally incapable of dealing with all this stress and pressure of being the only parent and making enough money for all her kids to feel secure and whatnot. Like she couldn't handle it. She was crumbling. And this woman was doing her best, okay? Like the mom was doing her best, but this woman who I was reading had grown up basically like going to school and working all the time and caring for her siblings and basically raising them and taking care of mom. And she had to learn, this woman had to learn how to drive on her own, like learn how to deal with all her own confrontations on her own, deal with anything that happened she had to figure out on herself. And she became a very strong leader and very, in a very short amount of time because she had to grow up quick. That was how she survived. And when I looked at her aura that day as an adult woman, wondering why, her questions were about why can't she meet anyone romantically, Spirit was basically saying, hey, like take off the red shell, like take off that. And it's hard to do that because that was her armor. That was her survival. That's how she got through. But people were reading it on her. Like, so when she was trying to date and stuff like that, people felt that wall because it'll feel like a wall when you're wearing an authentic color. And in the reading, I saw it, but I could tell that others could not. They just saw a very tough woman who was not into being helped, who didn't want anyone to think she needed anything from them. Like, this is the type of woman, like, if you even tried to pay for her dinner, she'd be like, no, I got it, because anytime anybody gave anything to her, she felt there was obligation attached. All these agreements, like, that came from her having to be a strong, independent person that just got used to doing everything herself. Why? Why was she like that? Because being helped, these were her like subconscious agreements growing up. Being helped, having someone, just expecting somebody in her life to do something for her meant disappointment. Like her own father, she couldn't count on for support. Her own mother, she couldn't count on for emotional support. So as a very young child, she formed this agreement, this subconscious rule that when you allow somebody in and you become vulnerable to them, you get disappointed. And it meant that at the end, she would be upset. She would disappoint. She'd feel the same way she felt when dad walked out the door and mom couldn't handle it, rejected, alone, and out of control. And her blue, her empath color was totally squashed. It was totally being protected. And the protection was causing her not to live life forward, only stagnant. And the work for her was to shed this inauthentic color. And that's hard. So I gave her the message with the reasons why, and she understood, and it opened her eyes. And she was like, okay, I get the connections. And that's where you start. And now the work for her is to get vulnerable in a safe way, which is not easy when you were left as a kid and spent your whole life depending only on yourself. Being vulnerable was associated with her, by her ego, with being weak, being susceptible to disappointment and failure. And for the empath, a powerful vulnerability is how we survive best. Like for the empath, stepping in to your emotional intelligence, stepping into the fact that you are very vulnerable, but you speak up to it and you speak to it and you self-advocate for it. That's how we survive. But when you had that childhood, when this woman had this childhood and she had to shove that away, she never learned how to use that strength, to use that vulnerability to her best interest. So she's going to have to reteach herself. And that's hard. So that's shedding colors. So what does shedding colors look like? I get to read so many people, and I've had enough regular clients that I have been blessed with seeing what this looks like a lot, the process of it, the end result of it. My favorite thing to do is when I open up a photo for a phone or an email reading, because people send me photos and email and stuff before a reading. I get to see that they've shed a color. And like, because I don't remember past readings, it's interesting because I can always tell when someone has lost an inauthentic color. It really looks raw. Like the energy looks raw. This is the best equivalent I can give you. The equivalent I would say would be like if you took off a Band-Aid and you saw a really gross, like squishy wound under there. And it's at that point where you know you have to take it off so the wound gets air and heals better. That's what it looks like. That's what the aura looks like to me. Kind of like that. And if you know what healing looks like, you're happy about it. So like when you see that wound, you're like, okay, I got to take that off. And it's, you know, I have kids. So it's like, oh, good, everybody, it's healing. So let's take this off your knee and let's give it some air. And, you know, my kids are always like, ew, I don't want to see it. Put the Band-Aid back on. And you're like, no. It needs air. It's okay. And that's what it looks like when I see somebody who has just taken off an inauthentic aura color. It looks squishy and raw and just, okay, now we have to expose it. Now we got to get it out there. Now we have to give it some air. Now we got to get some practice. And that's what you do with your energy. And it's the exact same thing. And what happens like when you go out, right? Like when you have to go out there with your new squishy wound on your knee that needs, you know, air. It's weird. It's awkward. Like you're always like, ooh, don't touch it. Like, you know, everything. It's the same thing with your energy. So I will see this aura, this raw, squishy, kind of ripped up aura. And I know it feels gross to the person. But to me, I get excited and I'll tell them that. Because when you lose an inauthentic color, you feel like a freaking mess. You feel like you're free falling into space. Things that you really used to care about, like what your boss thought of you or a friend's opinion or that guy that was calling/not calling, you know, like all of a sudden you put periods at the ends of those sentences. You're just like done. You can't deal with loose ends anymore. You kind of walk away from them. You're more self-protective is what happens. Just like with the wound, like you get more self-protective with that raw, squishy aura, you know, your energy, you're more protective with it. You know, that you don't let things in that you would have in the past because you don't have that barrier. So you're more timid, but that's good because then you can be more selective. But your ego, which is that pesky yet admirable human quality in which you have like its whole purpose is to keep your life the same because you've been surviving life just fine the same way in your pattern, will come in and tell you that you look like a total mess on paper to everyone. So, like, let's say, you know, when you shed a color and you're kind of messy and raw and you're timid and you're doing things different and you're just, like, not caring like you used to and you kind of move on from things or you let things go, your ego will be like, wow, you look disorganized. You look this, you look that. You look bad on paper. And your ego will activate because it hijacks things in you. Your ego will hijack your empath awareness to show you that, yep, you sure do. Because empaths can feel what others are feeling the same as their own. So yeah, you'll feel how crazy you look to other people, how different, how weird, how odd, like what a change in behavior. You'll feel all their judgments, all their emotions, and your ego will try to tell you that this is bad. Now, it's not bad. You know, and what if you really just thought like, okay, I'm feeling all these things other people are feeling about me, but that's them, not me. And what if that's not bad anyways? What if you are actually triggering their own needs to do the same thing? Yet because they themselves don't feel secure enough to do it, their own egos start judging you instead. That's what we do when we feel we can't do something someone else is doing. We judge. Our egos judge. It's in all of us. It's okay. We've all done it. But if you see it, you can also see what happens to you when it's your ego trying to tell you to stay the same, to not change. When you see someone changing and growing and shifting and it triggers, whoa, stay there, stay in it, pause. Ask your soul, whoa, what are you trying to keep me away from within myself? Show me what you are hiding from me. Show me what whatever you're triggered about has a lot to say about what you feel you aren't capable of getting or not worthy of, or you're scared or all that. Like something that, like I say, your triggers are your path back to you. So when we feel triggered by something, It's really important to pause in that, even though it's uncomfortable, and ask, what is this about? Why do I feel the need to be jealous or attack or judge or do this or that? Because that's going to help you figure out where your own insufficiencies are. You can work on it. But here's the thing. When you go through a spiritual awakening and you shed aura colors, you're going to feel that from other people a lot. It doesn't mean it's true. It just means you're feeling their issues. Very important distinction, because it can make you stuck if you don't realize that. So vulnerable truths come out a lot when you're raw and you're new and you're taking off an inauthentic aura color. And you might have been there already in your life. You may have been through moments where you're like, oh my gosh, like all of a sudden I don't feel the same way I used to about things. And people react to you. And you question it, like, am I going crazy? Like, is this right? Like, what is this? All normal, all symptoms of you shedding an inauthentic aura color. So taking off a color which is inauthentic to you is something which feels scary, but it's a beautiful way to move forward in authenticity and understanding, because I guarantee most of you listening are empaths. You will feel it strongly that it looks weird to others, and you can even feel that you are changing for the better or getting messy, which will be detrimental to others. Okay, you might feel like, okay, if I'm changing, I'm a disservice to my kids or my husband or my friends or this or that. Or maybe I'm a bad person because I'm not going to do this thing I always used to do. Or, maybe I'm a bad person because I want to change my job. Like, I don't want to work anymore. Like, I don't want to do this. I had a reading this week with somebody and she went to school forever to be a doctor. She doesn't want to be a doctor anymore. She just doesn't want to do it. Just don't do it. She went to school forever to be a doctor, and now she doesn't want to be a doctor. And you know what? Everyone around her is going to think that's crazy. Why would you do all that work and then not want to do it anymore? Why? Because she changed her mind. Because old choices represented an inauthenticity within her. And now that she shed those inauthentic layers, her life is going to look differently. People are either going to understand that or they're not going to understand it. And you can't control how they're going to respond. So that's why a lot of people don't want to do this, because like when you shed these colors, the same thing happens in a mirror in your life, which is why a lot of people, again, they don't want to do it, because when you go through this, when you shed those layers, you will also shed friendships, relationships, jobs. You will go through body transformations. You may get a need to eat differently, eat more kindly for yourself. You may find you don't want to drink anymore. You just don't want to. It doesn't do a thing for you. Why? You don't need distractions anymore. It takes a ton of energy to carry around an inauthentic color, and it takes a ton of distraction. So self-destructive tendencies, the drinking, the toxic friends, the foods that aren't good for you, the habits which make you feel sad and keep you low vibe, all of a sudden, you just don't want to do it anymore. And you can shed jobs too. All of a sudden, you just dropped the care you had to stay where you are at. Like that woman, to be a doctor. It's because you don't like it there, and the inauthentic color isn't there controlling you like a puppet on a string. When that's gone, all of a sudden, it's like apathy takes over in the right places. It's kind of powerful, and it can freak you out. But, that's the thing. A lot of people don't want to drop their inauthenticity because they've built a whole life around that very shaky foundation. So when you start, and I talk about this a lot in my Spiritual Awakening podcast, which is episode 33, you do shed a lot of things, including an inauthentic color, if you so have one. Friends are going to call you out. The is he or isn't he relationship you have on the side will get a very direct question about where this relationship is and where it's going. You're going to ask him, like, what are we? Like, what is this? Don't waste my time and I won't waste yours. Let's go. The job you hate will get dropped. The apartment you can't stand, you're going to move out of it. The relationship you have currently with someone, if you're in one, it's going to get straightened out, and it's messy and it's raw, and there isn't always a game plan. It's just a lot of truth. Because when you ditch an inauthentic color, when you shed stuff that isn't you, underneath is you. And because from a very young age, you didn't learn the coping skills of you, and from the truth of who you actually are, you are learning now. So patience with self is important. I read so many people and they just were never nurtured to see life from their authentic state of being. And when you take off an inauthentic color, that's what happens. You have to learn who you are and learn coping skills like from stage one. Because if you're an empath, you were taught to do things for other people. You were taught to fit in to your context. And when you shed all that stuff, like all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, like what do I want? Who am I? And how do I go about this? Like all at the same time, all at once. Another thing that happens, other than shedding colors, it can happen with this, or it can happen like apart. Even if you don't have inauthentic colors, you might have an imbalance of your actual colors, like your one color squashed or one's too big or things like that. So rebalancing your authentic colors can happen too. I had a reading with a woman recently, and she had a childhood sexual trauma. You know, she was abused. And it was horrific. And although she was a grown woman now, away from her abuser with a husband, and, you know, she had kids and she was safe, her aura still reflected her trauma. This is part of like when I do an aura reading, the reason why I focus on it so much is it's always a metaphor for me first. So I'll tell you what it looked like. She was blue and yellow. But when I looked at her blue, it was very fuzzy, almost like someone sprayed a blue mist into the air around her. It was so light. And it was absorbing into everyone and everything around her. She was attempting to be invisible. Invisibility happens in many ways to a lot of empaths. In her case, it was as if she was literally trying to disappear energetically into thin air, to not be there. And she didn't know how she felt or who she was or what she wanted, and she couldn't even feel anything. And that was because as a child, when she was being traumatized over and over again, that was her escape. She disappeared. She used her empath ability to evaporate into the air around her. And I mean, I get really upset talking about it just because it's so fresh. I just did the reading. Yeah. And she had yellow. She did have yellow, and she was just leaning heavily on the yellow. And the yellow was being overused. So it was darker and murky looking. Like when you overuse anything, it just looked tired. And she was so used to just going through the motions in life and not feeling anything. She didn't know how to. She didn't know how to feel. When I do a reading, I step into you. And that's why it takes me a while to get through my readings, because they're emotional and they stick with me. And so like feeling her trauma as a child, secondhand, of course, but still like, so that spirit allows me to step into that so I can really get to the places she might not be able to see herself and walk her through it. Like, it's amazing. That's why the ego, like, it gets a lot of flack, we make fun of it and stuff, but all it's trying to do is help you. That's all it's trying, like, all it was trying to do is help this little girl that she's still, she's this adult woman, but inside she's just this little girl. And all the ego tried to do was be like, hey, we're not going to be here during this. And it just never turned off. And how do you turn that back on, Because the ego doesn't know it's still not happening. That was her defense mechanism. It's hard. It's hard. So as she has been waking up into her soul identity, this woman, and connecting her trauma to how it impacts her life today, she started to feel numb, yet she was knowing at least she was numb. So it's kind of like being under anesthesia, but knowing they're working on you. Like if you've ever had a tooth pulled, for example, you hear what's going on, you feel pressure, but you don't feel pain. It's really weird. It's really weird. And that's what you can feel when you wake up from being numb your whole life. Like that's how it starts. You can see it all happening, but you can't connect the emotion and feeling yet. It's a defense mechanism. She was too scared to feel. Because as a kid, if she was like energetically awake for what was happening to her, she wouldn't have survived. So her ego's defense mechanism is to still be asleep, to be numb, to separate the feelings, because the feelings aren't safe. They will make you associate too much with that trauma, and she wouldn't have survived. So it's going to be work for her to bridge the gap between understanding what's going on in her life and learning how to connect feelings to it. Because like she did that so she didn't have to feel what was happening to her emotionally, physically, spiritually as a child. But now when she sees her little daughter running through a sprinkler and she knows she should be feeling joy, like she can't. That's bad, like she wants to feel the joy and she can't. And that's part of waking up too. So this woman wanted to know, she just wanted to know how to feel the feelings she knew were there, but she wasn't connected to yet. And the problem is at first, it does connect, but at first, back to that tooth pulling analogy, imagine all of a sudden there's no Novocaine while your tooth is being pulled out. It's like, what the hell is this? This hurts. This is awful. Who wants to feel this? Who does this? She got this woman is so customized to not feeling anything. Even the little things can be too much for her. The feeling of like frustration or anxiety, or just like, you know, when you're late to something, or like you compare yourself to somebody else, or, you know, not getting a deadline, or wanting more from her husband, or needing more from a friendship, or just feeling sad, or feeling rushed, or all the little tiny feelings most people have learned to deal with from a very young age are now to her raw and painful and loud, and they all come at once. And it's so stressful. It's overwhelming. So when you wake up to your authentic colors, when you connect to your soul's authentic self, you feel pain sometimes. It's jarring. It's not easy. This is why it's incredibly avoided by most people. They won't do it. But she wanted to. Why did she want to? It's always something. There's always going to be something that makes you want to do it. This is for this woman. It's because she had a little girl, and her little girl saw her, and her little girl was seeing the truth, her real self, and she wanted to be real for her daughter. She didn't want to be a shell. She didn't want to be a shadow. She didn't want to be a mist evaporating into the space around her, invisible so as to be safe. She wanted to be a real thing for her girl. And in that moment, she found the power and the bravery to feel. And we all have to find that reason to be ourselves, because it's not easy to shed a color to rebalance who we are. This woman had to call back in her blue energy, solidify it, draw boundaries around it, and relearn what a boundary even was. And that's work. Rebalancing colors can happen, but a lot of people won't do it because it does hurt, and it does take time. This is an interesting analogy, too. I was watching this, oh my God, what was that? It was like True Story. I totally got that wrong. It's MTV had a show. MTV used to have the show where it was like, they would follow people in their lives. And I forget what it's called. And it could still be on. I'm sorry. I'm really bad at this. It was called like True Story or something. Anyways, they had this teenager. He was a boy, and he was deaf. His whole life he was deaf. And all of a sudden he got like, I don't know, he was like 17 or something. They gave him like the implant. So now he can hear everything. All of a sudden he can hear everything. So this guy's been deaf his whole life. His whole life he's been deaf. And boop, with a flip of a switch, this thing makes him hear everything. Now he can turn it on and off, okay? He can't handle it. Because if you think about it with your hearing, for example, sometimes it's easier to understand empath abilities if I compare it to like another sense that you're more aware of. Hearing, for example, there are so many things that you hear during the day that your brain just blocks out or doesn't notice. Like, I don't know, steps or birds or the wind wishing against your ear or the lawnmower, going off at the neighbor's house. There's so many. If you just pay attention to all the things that you ignore that you hear, he was hearing them and he couldn't ignore it because his brain never learned to turn off those like secondary noises. Never learned. And it gave him so much anxiety and stress that he actually turned it off. He preferred not hearing. And the only time he would turn it on is like when he wanted to, to converse or something, or really for his music. Like he liked to listen to music and that was it. He preferred not because and that's what happens when you turn on your emotions after them being off for so long. When you shed an inauthentic color after wearing it for so long, there is so much stuff that you haven't learned to cope with. It's too much at once. So it takes time. And that's why like therapy's good, journaling's good, meditation's good, sitting with yourself is good. Just doing things for you is good to get used to you feeling you again. Because it's not an overnight thing. You need to kind of build up to it. And yeah. So when I look at pictures of someone, I can kind of tell where their heads are, at various times in their life. because of how their colors are distributed. A little too much purple can mean wild times, no consequences with the thinking. A little too much blue can mean some victimization or a time of complete overwhelm. Too much red can mean a need for control. Too much or anger, having an angry time in their life. Too much yellow can be neurotic or OCD or overstimulation. Too much green can mean despondent from emotional connections. We all get out of balance. And part of it's actually normal because life is freaking hard, okay? And we have to lean on some parts of ourselves to get through it sometimes. And we're thankful we can do it. We have these coping mechanisms. But then we have to know how to shed it, when to get back out there raw and ourselves and handle life in the authentic way which we were meant to, which is honestly what this podcast strives for via the vision I have for it. And the messages I hope it brings to you all today. I want to thank you for listening to me today, for feeling that pain that may have come with some of this, for allowing yourself to be opened up to the parts of you that may be hidden. I want to thank you, and I want you to thank yourself for letting yourself feel that, because it can hurt, and I'm not saying it doesn't, but it is a catalyst. And that spark leads to something else. It always does, I promise you. It opens up walls and doors and moments. And when you shed all that stuff that's not yours, that's someone else's, I'll tell you something. You learn real well and good never to put that back on again. And that's the ultimate prize. It's freedom of the soul. Hey, Scotty.
Hey.
So you didn't really lose in an authentic color. You kind of rebalanced yours because you were like super, super blue. And now you had to like bring the red back into it.
Yeah, I think so. And I kind of didn't tell you this.
Oh.
And, I'll go into a serious Scotty mode again.
Oh, I love
here
when
at the
you
end of the
reveal
episode.
things publicly that I didn't know you were going to talk about.
Right. Kind of like when the boxers were revealed on the balcony.
All right.
But this is my serious Scotty.
Okay, sorry. Go back to serious Scotty.
But it made me think.
Do you need me to rub your feet?
Yes, while some lady watches.
Yes.
And I have a towel on me.
Ew.
Dubbed error.
Okay. The people who visualize choose. You went too far.
Yes, I do now have a very nice young lady from Minnesota did send me a place to hang my crystals, so they don't have remember I was making a pouch down there.
Oh yes, I put that on my story.
Yeah, so now I have my crystals on my boxers, and I did look to see if those boxers had crystals on them. They did not.
They did not.
So they're not a spiritual guy like me.
Right. Because you're a spiritual guy.
Yeah, I'm spiritually awakened. So I had my spiritual awakening, and for a red, that's huge.
That's big.
Like purple can have a spiritual awakening. That's not a big deal.
That's just every day.
Yes,
but a red
having a spiritual awakening,
or even a green.
Actually, another guy did write to me, a guy named David, and he said he was having a spiritual awakening, and we kind of bonded on email.
Great.
Yes,
that's good.
Maybe those were his boxers.
Oh my God!
No, all right. So serious Scotty. Anyway,
all right.
So this was my as you know, if you're following along with the podcast. This was my first week. I would have went back to work on Monday, which was really weird.
Yes, you just quit teaching.
Right, I just quit teaching last year. And this Monday, past Monday, I would have went back. So it was really weird. I got up that day, and actually, I knew the time. Like I still have friends that work at the school, so I knew they were going to have their staff development at 9:00, and this was the schedule for I didn't know every hour, but I knew.
Wow, you really asked them? Huh?
No, I just I asked, when
like
you
what
guys
time
have to
you
go
going to
back.
be in the meeting so I can think about you.
Right. That's what I did.
I'd be really happy I'm not
trying
you.
to be serious, Scotty, but
sorry.
Now you're taking on the role.
I'm sorry. It's just that, like, hey, what time's your faculty meeting that I won't be there?
Yeah.
So I can just drink coffee and be like, ha-ha.
Yeah, all right, hilarious Maggie over there.
Sorry.
All
right, go on. I'm done.
Okay, fine.
I'm done.
I guess this is how it would be like living with me.
Yeah, I know. Like when you're on a deep point.
Maybe one day I do like that hamburger meat in the middle, like you do of the show.
Oh, you should do the meat in the middle.
Yeah, we'll see. And then
like the little talk in the middle, and I do
goof on me the rest of the show.
We should do that. An opposite
day one
podcast. What would you talk about for a half hour? You'd rant about valet
parking.
Be
the end. First of all, it'd be the end of the podcast. We would lose all of our followers. You would see like subscriber rates plummet. It would be like the Dow Jones in 1929, plummet.
You just repeat yourself about something.
It would just be me saying the same thing over and over again. How I hate valet parking.
Or why do they charge for water?
Yeah.
Or like anything.
Yeah,
like you just go off. All right.
Okay.
All right. So you asked all your friends
right.
when the first day would be, what their schedule was.
Yes. So I knew,
detail, so you could really reflect.
I had a loose knowledge of their schedule.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, so when I got up on Monday, I actually got up thinking that I had to go to the meeting. I swear to you, I am not kidding you. I woke up at like 7:30. I'm like, oh, okay. I got like an hour till I have to drive there.
Wow.
Yes. And then I got up and I went to my closet to get my work outfit on. You know, my button-down shirt, my old khakis.
Like, and should I be concerned?
You should be.
That you went through like at least 10 minutes like this?
No, it was like in the back of my head, I was like, wait a second. How much more time do I have till I have to go?
Yeah.
I really thought that I was going in. Mm-hmm. Like, I really did. I really went to my closet
we hear
to pick out the clothes.
We get it.
Hey, it's the first day. I got to wear something good.
Yeah, we get it.
But then I realized, obviously, I didn't. And I went downstairs, whatever, and then I was just, hanging out. And I'm like, wow, this is so weird. Everyone's going to be there, but I don't have to go.
Right.
So it was really interesting. And then, like, the next day I woke up again, and I was still kind of like a little foggy. I didn't get all the way to the closet this time. But
so it's betterhelp.com/KYA because I'm getting a little concerned.
Right.
For your mind.
But then, but then the real kicker was that when, because we talked about going to Key West on the first day, and I don't know if I like subconsciously planned this or not.
Yeah.
But the first day of classes where I've been like teaching the kids was our first day in Key West. And I thought, then I'm like, holy cow.
Like you were in the pool. Yeah.
I'd be teaching those kids saying, hi, I'm Mr. Firester, in the same speech I've given for the last, 20 years.
Yeah. So how did that make you feel?
Fantastic.
Oh, really?
I feel great, yeah.
I feel like you've gone through, because I talk about, what I just talked about was, how stressful it can be to rebalance your aura colors. Because, for a long time, you were, very depressed. Mm-hmm. And, you felt very trapped or it wasn't going to happen or you couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And now, to be in Key West on the first day of classes, did you send a selfie of yourself to your friends? Say, suckers. It's 9 a.m. and I know
I'll tell you what
are.
I did do.
Well, oh,
which I did start following their account on Instagram.
Wow, Scott.
Yeah. And now here's the funny part. When I was there, I didn't want to follow the account.
Right.
Because I didn't want to know about it.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, hey, let me check the account.
See, I was right.
Yes, you were right. And now I check it and I see them all there. And they're they're at their desks or they're at staff development, and I'm just like, it's like,
are you liking all the
No,
photos?
I'm not liking anything.
Oh, no?
I don't want anyone to know I'm on the account. Now, although now they probably will know that I'm on the account. They don't follow anyone, so they don't.
Okay.
The account doesn't. But yes, I did just to see what I'm missing out on.
Yeah,
and it's every time I look at it, I get giddy. I'm like, yes. This is fantastic.
Well, that's what I was getting at.
Yeah, I know you were.
Yeah, why are you getting your friends' schedules?
Yeah.
Well,
now I got a free, there's free Bert. Now I got a free Tom.
Oh, I know.
He's my buddy there. I got a free Tom.
Yeah, your friend.
So # free Tom.
Yeah.
TOM, Tom.
Listen, teaching's great. Teaching's been a wonderful service to us in our lives. We loved, actually, when I was teaching, it wasn't the teaching I minded. Kids are great,
Yeah.
It's kind of like the nonsense that goes with teaching.
Yeah.
What part of teaching for you felt inauthentic? Because I know, actually talking to the kids wasn't an issue for you. What was it like about it?
I don't know. I mean, for me, honestly, the worst days were the staff days. When they were talking about teaching.
You hated that.
I hated that. But hey, now I'm doing what I always wanted to do. 20 years ago, I was like, hey, I want to be a guy sitting in my living room talking to someone else on a microphone.
Right.
And that's what I'm doing
And
right
that's
now.
what you're doing.
Yeah.
At my dining room table.
Talking into a microphone. Well, we do have a studio audience, but...
Yeah, it's the cat.
Yeah. Jenny, get me that whiskey.
Invisible friends.
Yeah. Invisible people that I talk to.
Well...
Maybe we ended on that note.
On that note.
I'm going to get help.
Yes.
I am. Because if I wake up tomorrow and I go to the closet again...
I'm a little concerned.
Yeah. At least I didn't get into the car and start driving there. I thought about it, though. I really did.
I would have caught you out the door.
Where
are you going?
I'm like, do I have to... It was really weird. I'm going to... in all seriousness...
Yeah, I'm a little
serious,
nervous.
Scotty, it was a really weird feeling. I really thought that I had to go.
Do you feel like it was just the remnants of that prison mind you were talking about? You had last week when you were talking about that?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, I really thought I had to go.
Yeah.
And then it took me throughout those first few days, it took me a few moments and said, wait, no, you're not on the schedule. They're not expecting you there.
Yeah.
They didn't ask you what you want for lunch.
Whoa.
You didn't, check in with the email.
It was nice they used to ask you that.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Yeah.
They used to feed us pretty good.
You well.
Yeah. At the beginning years, they did not. They used to give us this real crappy pizza, and it was disgusting. And then over the years, they changed that.
That was very
and they
nice.
gave us,
Well, you work
really
for a private school. Let's just preface that. At
This was
public school,
perfect.
they don't feed you.
No, public school, they do not. They throw like milk cartons at your head.
They do.
Say,
They're like,
catch.
catch.
Catch that milk carton if you can.
And it's expired.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. I know this episode is running probably way too long now.
This is way too long. Feel free to leave.
When I tell you, when I used to eat the school lunches, when I was doing at public school in Holland, in Western New York.
Yeah.
And I used to sometimes get the school lunch. You a couple times probably did, right?
Oh, Taco Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. Government meat.
Ew. I mean, that was disgusting. It was like $2.
What would you get?
I would get like the pizza.
Stop.
Yeah.
No, that's the worst thing.
Yeah.
That's
I
like
would get the tacos.
Taco Tuesday was like worth it.
Yeah.
Even though it's government grade meat, it was a little squishy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. We're like 40 minutes over how much we should have done. I'm gonna get that checked out.
Thanks.
Tomorrow, if I wake up and I'm like driving to Boca,
Yeah.
you call. You get me Baker acted. Get me Baker acted.
We'll take care of you, honey.
Yeah, Baker acted.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. You all take care. We appreciate you.